Hey y'all,
Hey yo,
it's Friday.
how much of a flashlight I am. I'm so bright.
I've
Get a tan.
never heard you describe yourself that way, ever.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
the thing.
so guess what, y'all? We have stuff to talk about besides Rachel being your flashlight.
Other than that,
But beach soon.
soon.
Like that's the thing.
Vacay.
Yeah.
Shout out Ayana.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to the beach soon too. We're going to the beach soon.
Speaking of protecting your time,
Right.
and taking time to do what you got to do
Yes.
to recharge and refuel and feel great.
Yes. So, because that's what we want to talk about today, and it just so happens we just realized we're
Segue.
going to be doing that. So, so we wanted to talk about how difficult it can be in our, personal relationships to set
Protect them,
boundaries and protect our time and communicate that we need maybe time to recharge or rest or whatever. And I think, of course, it starts with realizing that that's what you're doing and that that's what you need.
And I think like reframing how we talk about it,
Right.
that we are doing something.
Mhm.
Like when you say you need time to rest, relax, recharge, be alone, not people, take a nap,
Mm-hmm.
do housework, whatever. That's not like you not doing anything. That's you doing
Right.
something very important.
Yeah, because we have a tendency to have an off day or have a day that's where we're not bound to do things for other people, where we don't have a schedule to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And we will say, oh, I'm not doing anything today, or if someone says, hey, what are you up to? It's like, oh, nothing.
Nothing.
And it's like, no, you are up to something that's actually super important, whether you realize it or not. And it is you.
And if you are considering it like a day of doing nothing, you might reconsider that it's an opportunity to recharge and
Right.
stop saying I'm
Right.
not doing anything. My schedule's clear, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But say like, oh, my schedule's clear. Let me do 2 or 3 things that'll like recharge me. That might be.
But I feel like in our
variety of
society, we have this idea that if you don't have a schedule to keep, it's like this lazy thing, like you're not doing anything, like you should, we are like on this productivity train.
Yeah, and I've had days where like I haven't had anything to do, and at first was like, oh, that's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like reach out to somebody or somebody else is like really busy or like super productive, and I'm like, oh, I'm a bum. I should get to work. I should have used this day differently,
Mm-hmm.
more wisely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
and
then
that
I
makes
remember
sense.
who I am, and I'm like,
but
I don't have to do what everybody else does.
But it's easy to
Let me catch this nap real quick.
convince yourself of that. Like you can make a very compelling argument that
Yeah.
I should have done things differently because tomorrow I'm gonna wish that I had used this day to do this, and this
Because
when I'm super busy.
We see relaxing as doing nothing, right? So,
Mhm.
well, I could have got a head start on the things I got to do tomorrow if I would have used this day better. But if you don't use that day to do the thing that is recharge and relax, tomorrow won't be productive either.
Exactly.
Or will be less productive.
Right. You need to see your day off as something that also contributes to
Your
your
productive
productivity,
days,
right?
Like
So
it is productive.
it is. So I've realized that now when I have a day that I don't have anything I have to do and I don't have the schedule, if someone asks me what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm resting. I'm going to rest all morning, or I'm going to rest, all afternoon,
Yeah.
or whatever the thing is, instead of, and resting looks how it looks. Like that could be me sleeping, that could be me binge watching a TV show, that could be me like spending time with Phoenix, that could be me like whatever. It could be just whatever it is that day. But I'm careful to say that I'm resting or recharging or whatever, because that is what's happening. And in the past I've said nothing, and it was because I had these feelings of guilt, like, oh, I'm not doing enough if my schedule's not super busy, you know, like we worship that in our society. Like, I'm booked and busy. And it's like, no, I'm rested and relaxed and recharged.
Rested and recharged. I need that shirt.
Exactly. Like I'm attracting all the opportunities that I'm supposed to attract. And so, yes, I do have things that I have to do. But there are also the things that I want to do. There are also that I get to do. And my life is balanced that way.
Also, when you say you're having to answer this question because somebody reaches out to ask you to do something with them, right? And you say, I'm doing nothing. And then they're like, oh, cool, come with me to da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And you feel like, well, now I can't say no because I told them I wasn't doing anything. Right. And now it looks like it's about them. Right. And I don't want to be with, like, it becomes personal. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, you were doing something, you misspoke, and you are resting. And if you had said, oh, I'm resting today, they may not have even asked you to do the thing. Or if they did, they'd have asked you knowing you might be choosing resting over that thing. It's not personal. Right. So it's like it gives you more leverage, comfort in having the conversation. Like,
it makes it easier to say no to something that you want to say no to, because you really are doing something else. Like, you don't have to
and I think people get it. Like, another human would be like, oh, girl, rest. Never mind,
you deserve it.
I don't need you today.
Right. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think in particular it's really difficult when you have, you know, like friendships or romantic relationships where there's an expectation that we're going to spend a certain amount of time together. We're going to, you know, like, we're going to do a certain amount of things together. And when I have this downtime or free time that I'm meant to...
I should fill it with you.
Right. And so, because if I really like this person, or if they're really important to me, then that's what you do, right?
Yeah, to keep their company.
If you are really important to you, then you also need to give yourself the same, you know, consideration of like, okay, I have some free time. Let me give it to myself.
Right.
Let me think about what I need so that I can continue to be productive and be who I am and feel balanced and feel good and loved, right? So that I can feel self-love. Let me take this time.
And we were talking about how, like, peopling, we say peopling, like it's a thing. When we're peopling, it can be super recharging and like feed, and like that connection can be super good. And then it can also at some point, like, it hits a line and it's like, okay, so now this is an energy suck and I need to not people. And it isn't like a certain person I need to not people with. Right. It's like I need to not hold the attention of other humans, dogs. I mean, I felt that way at my house. I go home to relax and I'm like, ooh, I need a puppy sitter so I can just have a house completely like only my energy, my spirit filling this space all by itself.
Absolutely. I've been in the same place.
Yeah, and sometimes you like need that, and it might not be that you need it even very long, but like that quiet, that solace, that like moment of like, oh, nobody needs a thing from me because nobody's here to need anything from me, is a part of recharging.
Yeah, I was over peopling for like 9 days straight, and I felt like I needed a week. I was like, I need 7 days of nothing. And after one day, I felt like, I felt so much better. But it had gotten to a boiling point where I was like, oh no, I need days. I need so much time. So, but I think it's important, especially when we have our tribe, when we're creating our tribe and inviting people to be in our lives, that we are considering ourselves and that we are finding the language to explain to them that this is a part of me being me and taking care of myself, is that I have to have time for just me. Whether it's like resting or whatever you want to call it, but it has to be a part of the thing and needs to be communicated that it's not personal to you, it's actually personal to me. It's actually for me.
And seeing it as like an active, productive use of your time so that we start talking about it differently.
Yeah.
And including it in that way.
Yeah. So,
get some rest.
Get some rest this weekend. And we'll see y'all next Friday.